constantly trying to wound Mr. Barclay. Anyway. No mai haere mai, ki te tino whakahere ni ngā mihi nui ki a koutou katoa. Talofa lava, e mātou mālo, le soifua, awhia mai. Mālo le Bulavanaka, Maganda. Warm greetings to special guests, staff, students and parents. It seems somewhat surreal to be back here at the Christchurch Town Hall for the first time since 2010 due to the devastating effects of the 2011 earthquake. Since that time, 8 years ago, so much has changed. Staff changes, leadership changes, a large amount of property change, curriculum change, change in technology, and a very large increase in the number of students attending St Thomas's. I could go on. One of the major changes that has been in process this year, and will occur early next year, is a change in the proprietorship of St Thomas's. The current proprietors, the Christian Brothers, after a lot of investigation, have decided that the best sustainable future for St Thomas's is to transfer the proprietorship of St Thomas's to Bishop Paul Martin and the Christchurch Diocese. On a day-to-day basis, our staff and students will not see any change or difference. While we're in the midst of change, we are very blessed to be guided by our mission. A mission that is deeply embedded in our spirituality here at St Thomas's. Throughout the 58 years of proprietorship of St Thomas, the Christian Brothers have ensured the charism of Edmund Rice, inspired by Jesus Christ, is interwoven in all that we do. I feel honoured and inspired to continue the work of those who have come before me to ensure our charism is the greatest gift our Year 13 students leave St Thomas's with. I would like to acknowledge tonight the presence of Christian Brothers, Brother Joe Lauren and Brother Bill Dowling. Thank you for your legacy. I hope we can do it justice. I thank you for the trust you have imparted on our teaching staff to keep the Edmund Rice story alive and in action within our young men. I feel honoured to be part of your legacy. I would like to acknowledge the leadership of our senior leadership team, Mr Brendan Biggs, Mr Hamish Barclay, Mr Richard Washington, Mr Hamish McCombie, Mr Stephen Kennedy and Mr Greg Myrne. Our community is very fortunate to have you leading our school into the future. You are incredibly hard-working, innovative and have an absolute understanding of our mission. I thank you for your patience, the passion you share for our school, and most importantly, your sense of humour. I'd also like to thank our staff for all they do in the development of our students. We're very lucky to have a hard-working group of staff that understand we are far more than an 8:30 to 2:30 school. Our staff understand that by coaching, mentoring, tutoring, travelling abroad and pastoral care helps develop the whole person. We are unique to have so many staff make themselves available to work with our students in so many different settings, well into the evenings and throughout the weekends. I'd also like to acknowledge the support staff who so often go above the call of duty in supporting our students and teaching staff. If ever I was to think of a group who epitomise the statement of servant leadership, it is this wonderful group of people. I'd like to personally thank Joe Fitzgerald, who I work with on a daily basis. I thank you, Joe, for making sense and order of each working day, which enables me to carry out the diverse tasks that make up a principal's working week. I'd also like to acknowledge the hard work of our newly elected Board of Trustees, which is well led by Andy Steele. We're extremely fortunate to have a hard-working board that represents our community so well and truly understands the mission of an Edmund Rice school. The building program that our college has undergone is transformational and holds up as one of the best in the country. The facilities that our young men get to learn and grow in are absolutely top class. I thank our board for their passion and wanting our school to deliver a world-class education and experience. Our PFA has worked tirelessly all year raising much-needed funds to contribute towards the facilities here at St Thomas's. Schools continue to be underfunded, and without the much-needed support from our hard-working parents in the PFA, our boys would be without much. 21st century. Our students are so fortunate to have a group of parents and caregivers that are hopeful of their sons experiencing as much of life as possible, whether it be for attending mentoring days, evening events, fundraising, transport, acting as a psychologist, a chef, the list goes on. But it's the fantastic work in an environment whereby we are all working together to raise good young men that we are able to fulfil their potential. I'd like to finally thank my wife Sam and my children that support me wholeheartedly in order to lead a school that I'm so passionate about. It is so important to me that I'm present in supporting all of the many groups and communities that make up our school. This often means I'm home late or not at all. Thank you for your patience and support. Last year, our board, staff and leadership within our school focused deliberately on raising the academic expectations of our students. As I reported at the start of the year, we were very proud of the results that we all worked so hard to achieve in 2018. Our results at Level 1 were 83% of boys gaining NCA Level 1 compared to the national average of 72%. At Level 2, 91% compared to the national result of 77%. These results rank our students as some of the highest in the country. While we're delighted with these results, we also understand that we are focused on much more than developing just one aspect of our students. If we were solely focused on just academic outcomes, I believe we would have lost our way. Our focus throughout 2018 and 19 is centred around our students being in charge of their learning, knowing what level they are at and understanding the improvements they need to make along the way. We believe that hard work will prevail over talent. We also believe that our students will progress in different paths and sometimes over different time frames. At a Year 13 level, our focus has deliberately been about ensuring our students are engaged in all facets of school life, including culture, sport, leadership, alongside their academic studies. This year we asked our Year 13 students to use their free periods to assist our junior students with their learning. Research tells us that with boys, they love to learn off their older brothers. It has been pleasing to see this unfold throughout the year. This year, our Year 13 leadership group, led by College Captain Cameron Brewer, set their goals around an inclusive and supportive culture. It has been absolutely fantastic to watch our Year 13 students successfully lead this aspect of school life. As Andy mentioned earlier, in March this year, we're faced with the type of adversity we would have believed was never possible. The terrorist attack on the Al-Noor Mosque and the Linwood Islamic Centre, where 51 people lost their lives, including the loss of one of our old boys, Hussein Al-Mari, will be something that will be etched in the minds of all of us. I was so incredibly proud of the way our staff and students managed that very difficult time during lockdown. In the days after this event, we met as a leadership group to start to think of a way forward with our students, a way to try and make sense of this terrible act. It was at this meeting on a Sunday afternoon where we invited two of our student leaders to join in our planning. During this meeting, I was very impressed with the way the two students present interacted and shared their feelings and ideas for the upcoming week. What was very evident was the Year 13 leaders wanted to lead their students in this time of adversity. I'll never forget the images of prayer, reflection, haka and singing as our students found their way back. To the two students present that Sunday afternoon, Cameron Brewer and Kaius Fartilli, your leadership that week is something that I'll never forget. To our Year 13 group, I've been so impressed with each and every one of you. Tonight we farewell you. You've all had your challenges and your successes during your time at St Thomas's. It is in these experiences that you will have learned the most about life. You have learned when your plans don't go your way, if you stick to your gospel values, you will find a way through. Enjoy the many successes I know you will have, but never forget our charism and all it stands for. Year 13s, be men of Edmund. Be a voice for those without one. Have the courage and conviction to stand up when called upon. It has been a blessing watching you on your journey. All the highs and lows along the way are the experiences that have come together to form you into the men you have become. You have each in your own way left a legacy for those to follow. Let the seeds that have been planted here at St. Thomas's blossom and grow. Go leave your mark on this world. To finish tonight, I would normally use a quote that illustrates what is important to our community. I found the perfect quote, and it came from a very recent old boy, Josh Waifali, who left St. Thomas's at the end of 2018. Last weekend, I experienced a profound reminder of what our community is all about at the Pacifica Achievement Night. One of our old boys was present and was Master of Ceremonies for the evening. At the end of all the awards, the Year 13 students were farewelled with a stirring haka from the junior students. After the haka, Josh Waifali spoke with passion and wisdom and challenged our younger students to stand up and take all opportunities that come their way. He described how important his time at St. Thomas's had been in an often tearful and emotional final speech. Josh explained, we're not a school, but a family. It is in this statement that I feel our community can be described. Tonight, we've celebrated academic, sporting, cultural and drama achievements. Later, we'll celebrate our Year 13 students who depart at the end of this year. As Josh so simply stated though, we're a family, and while we may not see our Year 13 students every day next year, they don't leave the family, they remain a part of our community forever. They have left the school in a better place than they found it. It has been a pleasure to watch our Year 13 students grow and develop, to celebrate their success and to support them in their challenging moments. The greatest perk of being a teacher is to see young men come into our school as 11-year-olds and to see the 18-year-old version leave. To be directly part of their lives for their time at St. Thomas's is a true honour. Whawhatai lava, la manguia le sufua, kia kaha, kia mana, kia mana wanui, nō reira, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou.